Hello, my name's Alexander White, and I thought it would be fun to do a microphone shootout between the big four microphone types. That is the large diaphragm condenser, the small diaphragm condenser, the dynamic microphone, and the ribbon microphone, which is actually a type of dynamic, but we tend to separate the two designs out by calling them just dynamic and ribbon. So let's dive in and let me show you the differences in the sound. I'm going to record two different little pieces of music. They're just things I came up with just for the purpose of demoing these four microphones. And the first one is just a little picked riff. The second one is some bigger chords. Whilst I'm recording this, you'll be monitoring the AKG large diaphragm condenser. Let's have a listen back. And just before we get into it, I'll just tell you which microphones we're using. First of all, it's the AKG C414 XLS large diaphragm condenser. Then you'll hear the Universal Audio SP1 small diaphragm condenser, followed by a classic, the SM57 dynamic microphone, and finally the Royer R10 ribbon. Let's see how they sound next to each other. So what did you think? Did you think it made a really big difference depending on which microphone we used? There were certainly differences. And the point of this video isn't to tell you which is best. It's to show you that there are some differences so you can make a really informed decision about which choice you want to make for your particular piece of audio, the player and the room that you're in. Let's go and have a listen to the chords now and see how much difference the mics make on those. Well, I think there was a much bigger difference on the mic choices on the chords. You could really hear it being brighter or darker or more rounded. Again, I don't think it's about right or wrong. It's about what texture are you looking for and picking the right microphone to get you that texture earlier on. Could you EQ a lot of these microphones to sound similar to each other? You probably could. And in fact, in a mix, you could probably EQ them so it really didn't matter too much, but it's so much nicer to have the sound sounding kind of like you want it from the very beginning, rather than having to shape that sound later in the mix after you've recorded all of these other parts, which you may get into the mix and discover that actually shaping and recording in that way is actually really difficult, and the EQ actually isn't responding as you expected it to. So it's always better to capture the sound at source as close as you possibly can to how you would like it to sound in the final mix. So there we go. Thank you ever so much for joining me on this little big 4 different mic type shootout. I hope it's been really helpful, and I would love to hear from you in the comments about which was your favourite, which you thought made the biggest difference. Is there a microphone that you wouldn't use at all? Is there any of these that you just hated the sound of? And if you do want to find out more about mixing, I have a free guide on my website, which is recordwithalex.com. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again, and I'll catch up with you on another video next week.